Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video, and consequently what will be the final video of 2024 on my channel. And today I bring to you another long form video discussing various topics that have been on my mind recently. And I have titled the video A Message for 2025 because I'd like to do some thinking today about thinking. Now, what I mean by that is thinking about what's to come. And in preparation for this video, I went back and watched some of my old long form monologue videos and looked in depth at some of the topics that I discussed. And sometimes when I reflect on what's to discuss in these videos, I often think to myself, what have I not discussed before that would be of use to anybody? And hopefully the video topics that I've come up with for today will meet that criteria nicely. So first of all, I want to discuss the idea or the notion of self-reliance. What I mean to say when I talk about self-reliance is thinking about yourself and your abilities. Now, as a factions player, you, me, anybody else, one of the fundamental principles of factions is survival. And the only person you can truly rely upon to survive is yourself. In the same way that the only person that you live with 24 hours a day, 7 days a week is yourself. So being able to rely upon yourself is so fundamental to your own existence. And without sounding, too deep and meaningful, that truly is the essence of your existence on the earth, is reliance upon oneself. Now, to bring it back to a factions emphasis, think about a comeback situation that you've been in, right? As factions players, we've all been in comeback situations. We are the last man or woman standing, and it's all on us. It's all on our shoulders, right? Now, most of us, hopefully, being a factions player, have been in a comeback situation, however small, 1v3, 1v5, 1v10, whatever it is. And that feeling of victory when you eliminate the last enemy player and it's 1v1 and you get the better of the final opponent, there really is no better feeling in factions than that situation. And it truly is something marvellous and spectacular knowing that you have come out on top against all the odds. Now, I just want to give you a moment just to think about a time in factions where you have been the last man standing and you have come out on top. So my question for you is, what in that situation did you do? What weapon did you use? What strategy did you use? What was your approach to that situation? How did you rely upon yourself to get the job done? Feel free to share in the comments that situation. But that's the first kind of topic that I want to really put out there to you today, is the ability to rely on yourself. Now, self-reliance requires discipline. It requires training. It requires effort, time, and strength of character. And one of the very first things that one needs to do when developing self-reliance is to control your emotions. And that leads me nicely into the next topic of emotions. Now, we're all human beings. We've all got emotions. And emotions in human beings can at times be a fatal flaw because it gets in the way of logic and reason. Now, I'm not saying that you need to be a robot. I'm not saying that you need to be an arsehole or some emotionless creature with no understanding of other people. In fact, far from it is exactly what I'm saying. What I am saying is when you learn to control your emotions, you are so much stronger than other people around you. And again, I bring it to a factions emphasis because this is a factions channel, right? Think of a time in factions where all hope seems to be lost. You're so far behind. The enemy are way in front. They're absolutely dominating. And there seems to be no way to come out on top. Or you're surrounded by the enemy. You're low on health. You're low on ammunition, right? And you just want to give up. You want to rage quit. You want to get out of this lobby because you're so pissed off that somebody keeps taking you out, right? So many situations where it's easy to give up the ghost, so to speak. But think about that time where you didn't give up. You didn't cave. You didn't rage quit. What you did was you rallied, you showed mental fortitude, emotional control, and you thought about the situation squarely. Yes, the situation is dire. Yes, I'm likely to be killed here. Yes, I'm likely to lose. But actually, in the grand scheme of things, is it the end of the world? No. Can I try to come out on top? Of course I can. And that's the thing. It's about that control, that element of control. How do you retain or bring back that element of control? But we can also apply that to our lives in general. So many times in life, things happen that we don't expect, or things happen that we didn't want to happen. And what that does is it takes us away from the purpose of our lives. We look at a challenge, we look at a difficulty as a burden, and we shy away from it. The easiest thing to do is to avoid it. Now, again, I don't sit here and say these things because I've got it all worked out. I've got the perfect solution to every problem. Absolutely not. But part of my learning, my training this year, in factions and in life in general, has been how do we overcome obstacles? Life is tough. Life is really tough. But how do we overcome those obstacles? That's what we need to be thinking about. I've been doing some reading recently on lots of different things, from military strategy to history to philosophy and other things like that. And lots of the stories about people's personal lives that I've been reading have been all about overcoming challenges, overcoming the odds, pushing forward, showing discipline. And that has really helped to anchor me in my own life to understand that my challenges are a very small microcosm of the worldly challenges. My personal struggles, although sometimes they can be difficult, they aren't life threatening in many cases. And when you understand that somebody has always got it worse than you, then it really does anchor you in the present and make you appreciate more the better times in life. So next time you're in a factions lobby, next time you're in a situation where things seem hopeless, taking control of your emotions will allow you to think clearer, act more appropriately for the situation at hand, and will allow you to sometimes come out on top but also will allow you to think about what needs to be done in order to change the situation to make it better or to make it more advantageous for yourself. So the next topic I would like to discuss is one of immense interest to me in times gone by. And I don't believe it's something that I've discussed before on the channel. And again, in the comments, I would be interested to hear people's opinions. So I want to give this a factions emphasis once again. I'd like you to keep in your mind's eye the survival skill Lone Wolf. Right, Lone Wolf. So for any of you that are not sure what that is, I would ask what rock you've been living under. No, seriously, but on a serious note, it's that survival skill that you get when you are by yourself. So your teammates are far away and you need to rely upon yourself. And there's that self-reliance thing again, to get the job done. Now, there is a dichotomy that relates to this situation nicely, which is loneliness versus being alone. Two different things there. Let me just say that again. Loneliness versus being alone. Now, if my knowledge serves me correctly, I'm almost certain it was Mark Twain that said that those who don't like to be alone often find themselves in bad company, which suggests that there is a group of people who latch on to others and can't be by themselves. Now, I'm not here to pass judgment on anybody's personal lives. I'm not here to pass a judgment on anybody's ability to be by themselves or their own self-esteem. That's a matter for them. But my thought, my curiosity on this matter was, how do I think about myself in relation to being alone? Am I happy to be alone? And when I am alone, am I happy? Like, am I lonely? And my answer to the question, in all honesty, is I'm happy to be on my own. And no, most of the time, I don't feel lonely. In fact, I relish the opportunity to be on my own at times because I think it allows me to think for myself and focus on myself, which sometimes can be difficult. We all need time alone. We all need time for ourselves to reflect, to recharge. And part of our lives and living well is down to being able to be alone with our thoughts and analyze our actions. Now, part of the training towards self-reliance is being able to think for oneself, being able to solve problems, being able to understand that you are the person that you need to rely upon. Yes, there will be others to help you along the way, but in those times of darkness or light, maybe if there's hopeful times as well, part of that is being able to equip yourself with a set of skills that gives you the ability to be yourself, to think for yourself, and to act in the best interests of yourself where necessary. So, to think again about factions and to bring this to a kind of close, there's one thing that I have not discussed yet that ties all of these points that I've made together: self-reliance, emotional control, and being okay with being alone. But under the umbrella of self-reliance, let's say. And that theme that ties it all together is personal responsibility. Something that Jocko Willink called extreme ownership. What that basically is saying, I am going to take responsibility for my life and what happens in it. I am going to stop blaming others, and I'm going to take control, take responsibility of my actions and things that I can control in my life. So, thinking of factions, again, I want you to consider next time you play a match, think about taking control of a situation, whether that be changing up your play style to suit the situation, whether that be taking more time to consider how to act in the best interests of victory. Think about how to fight the enemy on your own terms and making sure that you are putting in the appropriate amount of effort and taking control of what you can control. You can't control what other players use. They might use the tactical shotgun, they might use covert training. You can't control those things. But what you can do is control how you react to those things. Are you going to complain and bitch and say, oh my God, they're using covert 3? Okay, yes, they're using covert 3. Of course, that's part and parcel of this game. Maybe somebody's playing really passive and won't engage. Okay, how are you going to deal with that situation? How do you deal with things in front of you? What do you do to make those things better? Occasionally, you might be able to rely on other people to help you out. But most of the time, you're going to be by yourself. And you have got to make sure that those situations that you can control, such as how you react and your emotions, means that your likelihood of overcoming that challenge and possibly gaining victory are not necessarily assured, but more likely to happen. So I would like to give you in this message the keys to take control of your factions journey and your life, whatever remains of factions. Now, I said this time last year that I was uncertain whether I would record another New Year's message video. Well, here it is. Now, I'm even less certain about next year, but let me tell you this. If I am still here in 12 months' time playing factions, then hopefully I can live by the words, or I will have lived by the words that I have given in this video. And I'm hoping that you can too. So my message to you is this. In 2025, go out there, take control of yourself first and foremost. Take control of your decisions and your emotions. And once you've done that, you will be almost unstoppable. I'd like to finish by thanking everybody for once again supporting me in this journey that I have been on now for over 10 years, and particularly with the channel in the last 5 years. And I hope to continue to rely on many of your supports in the coming year, and I look forward to sharing some more content with you in due course. But until that point, I wish you all very well for the new year, and hope to see you again in 2025. Until then, watch your six and keep your damn hands off me.